the objects that were moving freely around the sun.
Yeah.
Because and they're not being pulled. And then my father told me before, he said, yeah, that's the war. And he's like, and to his knowledge, there's actually a Stargate within the sun that they travel in and out from our universe to theirs. And that's why they're able, because anything that goes towards the sun gets pulled into this gravitational pull and pulled directly into the sun. If you look at this video, these objects are moving freely amongst each other, and they're able to just move up, down, left, right, without being pulled into the sun. Like, there's nothing that can do that without some kind of divine intervention or something that we don't have here. So if you ever get a chance to look for that video of objects, or you can just put UFOs flying around the sun, and you'll see that they got a video, and these things are just moving around. And my pop was like, yeah, those are the beings above that they're here, and they travel in and out through that sun Stargate.
Well, yo. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Cause I was and it's weird because I was reading up on it a little bit, just like how it started and like how long ago it started and all that. And it mentioned something that we was talking about a while back as far as like kind of like a temporal warfare. I was like fighting across timelines, but in this joint, I'm looking at it. It was the war.
Hey y'all, let's officially start.
Okay.
The recording started.
Okay, I'll go ahead, Roy.
All right, so I mean, I want you to jump back in, but hey, everybody, welcome everybody. We have already started with some good conversations, so I want to continue. So I just wanted to say welcome real quick so we can keep it moving. But welcome to Soft Disclosure Discussions. And I'm Rorree. We got Marcus, we got Cook, and we got Abdul. We got anybody else coming today?
Shams will be on a little bit later on, but okay, us right now.
Okay, all right. Well, let's keep it moving. So, what were you guys talking about? Abdul was talking about something that sounded really interesting. Orion or something. Is that what you were talking about?
You know, Mark was talking about the Orion Wars. Pretty much, it's the galactic wars between. And when they talk about them humanoid beings, Mark, again, those are the Anunnaki. They are the ones who they created man on this planet. They are us. They are the skin tone. They're from the planet Risk, the 3-star or 3-sun planet that has 3 suns. When they created man on this planet here, which our goal was to mine the gold that's on this planet, all the resources, because there was a lot of gold on this planet. And the thing about and what the Nuwapians believe as far as like the planet Risk, it's surrounded by 3 suns, and they have a field around the planet which is protected by the gold, which is why the gold is so important. And if you realize, there's actually an asteroid, Mark. There's an asteroid. You can look this up. There's an asteroid that's in this that they're aware of that's in our atmosphere. They said there's so much natural resources on that. It's a giant asteroid. They said there's so much natural resources on this asteroid, and I had to find it. Well, I find I'm gonna send a link in the chat, that it would instantly make every person on the planet a billionaire. That's how much resources on this one rock. So that just the mining, that's the whole thing is they're just like we do here, trying to mine for the resources for ourselves. They're doing the same thing, but they're doing it on a bigger scale. And right now, who knows? Like I still believe at some point, I don't know if it's gonna be my lifetime or whenever, Independence Day has it correct. We're gonna wake up one morning, look up, and see these big ships in the sky, and it's gonna be on and pop from there, man. That's just how I feel, man. I just feel that's what's going. It's gonna be just like that. They're gonna come in the night. We're gonna see these big ships, or whoever gonna see these big ships, and they either gonna be here to teach or destroy. It's gonna be one of the two, because that's what the war is about. The war is about, like the Draco, the reptilians. They're already here. Yeah, and it's like, you know, they're already here. And what they're trying to do is stop the positive beings from getting here to help. So that's what it's all about, man. You can already tell them reptilians. They in the TV show V back in the day told you they was here.
I remember that. The final battle.
Wow.
They put it in the TV. They put it right in our faces so many times that we just look at it entertainment. But no, they telling us, yo, we been here. This is what's happening. And yeah, so we're gonna tell our stories and make money off it at the same time. So that's all they doing. It's just they're here, but they're trying to stop the real people who could help us become and not to sound all spacious, but to become part of that actual space federation, that there is a galactic federation.
Oh yeah,
Galactic Federation that they've been trying, because we are the youngest solar system. We're not the youngest solar system, so we're still a baby. So for those who's been around for eons, they're trying to like get us in and possibly get us a part of that federation. But them reptilians, them evil ones, and them vanilla fellas who's in bed with them is stopping it from happening.
Right. Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
mentioned a planet that was surrounded by 3 planets. Did you say Reese or Rice?
Risk, R-I-Q-Z.
Okay, I never heard of that. Okay.
It's not in our solar system. It's in another galaxy. Hold on.
You say R-I-Q-Z?
Yeah, I might be misspelling it wrong. Yeah, I might be misspelling it wrong. I'll get the spelling for you actually in one moment. It's with so again, you know, Mark, I know you've heard of Planet X.
Yeah,
AKA Nibiru.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's the new Wapia. They would come around every 3,600 years or something like that.
Yeah, that's when it rotates. Yeah, or orbits. Yeah,
it orbits not because it's what's responsible for the separation of our moon and the Earth, which was actually at one point connected, which is why we have the stardust that between Earth.
Because it crashed into Earth, right? Because it crashed into Earth,
which that's what knocked us off our axis.
Right.
But again, they say it's a planetary object or a brown dwarf, but it's actually they believe again is an Egyptian and Nuwapian lore that believe it's Nibiru, which is the Anunnaki Elohims. Elohims meaning the angels, the angelic ones. So they come around, but I don't know how long until they come back around. But we need some help because these these motherfuckers over here been doing us dirty for a while, man. And so, but
right. And just to piggyback off of that, just one thing that I found interesting about the whole war or in battles and everything, and I'm still trying to like fully wrap my head around understanding it, was they were saying that the war took place over like, you know what I mean, millions of years, and it took place over the in the universal time matrix of the universe. And so I was like, I didn't know what that meant, but apparently it's like it was taking place across multiple universes and multiple galaxies all at the same time. And so it kind of like, if you forget about it, the whole concept of time, it was like it's one battle, but it's happening multiple places without time, if that makes sense. So just and so they said that like during this period, there was like trillions of casualties across the whole battle, like trillions with a T, trillions, because it was literally happening on multiple galaxies, in multiple realms and dimensions, all at the same time, when it was at its height for millions of years and stuff like that. So just like the enormity of this battle is like mind-boggling, and like when you really start to like read up on it and just see like just how massive this battle was, it's just kind of crazy.
You know, it was. I gotta find this article. I've been trying to find this article, which is it talks about the different deities that has been on this planet, and for the most part, there's really only about like, from what I remember reading, it was like probably like 7 or 8 different species of alien. Again, the reptilians. Then you had the there was another one. There's only really about like that I remember in that article. It was about like 3 very ones that would do harm. But most of them, the ones that I was reading about, were either just here to do, they wanted to help or they wanted to learn. But it's really only about like 3 that I remember reading in that article that was really here to, and again, the main ones is the reptilians, man.
Right.
You know, and I tell everybody all the time, like, it's a reason. It's a reason. If you ever look at your skin, you know, we've considered mammals, but if you ever really looked at your skin and how we shed like snakes, and if you ever look at your skin and how each part of your skin is shaped like a diamond, like the back of snakes, at some point we got mixed breeded with them, man. The mankind got mixed in with them, man, snake and mammal somehow. This is why the story of the dinosaurs was the first beings here. Like, we don't really know that they were really dinosaurs or what they were. But at some point, you know, I'm big on the whole reptilian things, man, because, you know, with greater good, there's always an evil. They got to come from somewhere. And they always talk about the snake being in the garden. Yeah, maybe he was walking on 2 legs and he was actually a reptilian. Like the movie B, so.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely. That's deep. That is definitely deep. So yeah, man. So I was just looking into that, and yeah, man. It's a whole lot to it. There's a whole lot to it. Just talking about how like the reptilians, they're all about service to self, but then they were fighting against the group that was all about service to others. You know what I mean? And so like that's just kind of the 2 opposites, bro.
That's the Anunnaki Elohim. Now, see, that's the thing. What we were talking about last time, we were talking about the Anunnaki. They don't depict it right because it's Anunnaki Elohim. Elohim meaning angels. That's they're the ones who created us. They're the creators of man. The Anunnaki Elohim. But I mean, so it's definitely a battle, man. It's definitely a battle going on, and it's one where we fighting each other here, but it's a bigger battle going on there. So it's just a matter of time of what Beanie Siegel say, get down and lay down.
Right.
You know, so we will find out at some point, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So when was this battle, Marcus, what you were talking about, that was happening in multiple universes at the same time? Something that when you were describing that, it sounded like a vision that I had seen. So when was that?
I mean, well, like, I've seen kind of different time periods, but I've seen it anywhere from 5 million as years ago, as far back as 20 million years ago. This took place, and it was called the Orion War because the main battles took place in the Orion constellation of the galaxy. But then it eventually spread out to other areas in space also. But that's where the main battles took place in that part of the constellation. That and then like a good part of it was in the Sirius constellation too. I think Sirius B or Sirius constellations also. And so that's when it happened, and it was going on for like millions of years apparently. So
I had to read into that a little bit more. I know you sent the link. I'm going to read a little bit.
Because it makes me wonder if we're going. Were you saying something, Abdul?
You got it.
Okay. It makes me wonder if we're going through that now, and if there's going to be some spiritual war coming up. Because it feels like we're in a spiritual war now, you know, with dark and light or whatever. It just feels like when we talk about the project Looking Glass, and we talk about the timeline, the first timeline and the second timeline. I think we were talking about that last time. Were we talking about that last time, or we were going to come to that today? No,
we talked a little bit about it last time. I don't really remember details.
Well, it just feels like we are. So, Marcus, do you want to share the details about the project Looking Glass?
Yeah,
what it
sure.
is and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So really, Project Looking Glass was it was kind of it came together, I guess, maybe in the 50s or 60s even, as far as they took technology from a crashed UFO, and they couldn't figure out how the beings was flying the craft, because it wasn't no gauges or devices or steering wheels or handles, nothing like that. And so they finally realized that when you sat in the pilot seat, essentially, it would your mind would become synced in with the craft, and so you would be able to control the craft just by using your thoughts in your mind. And so that's how these beings flew the craft. And so as they started to try a bunch of different things, they realized that if you took a person that was already had psychic abilities, or was already very intuitive, it would enhance their abilities like 100 times over if they sat in this chair. And so they realized that by doing that, it would allow that person to be able to essentially see into the future and see multiple timelines while they were sitting in this chair. And so then over the years, they were able to develop that technology and actually kind of like put it into like a program, so that they no longer needed a person to physically sit in the chair, but they would just they could punch in different algorithms into a program, and it would essentially tell them what the outcome would be. So that was kind of the genesis of Project Looking Glass. That's how it all started.
Okay, and when I think about that, and I think about now, because I've seen shows where they mention, oh, here's somebody and he is a psychic and he was a part of that program or whatever, or he was with the CIA with a program. They don't say Looking Glass or anything in the show,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just thinking about the intuitives that are here today, because we're all intuitive in some kind of way. And I think about some of the stuff that some of us do, like we can go to different places now, like
Right.
what they're describing in Project Looking Glass. Like we can go from here and go back in time and look at different timeline. I mean, different, I think I've seen different timelines for people.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen past timelines, past lifetimes, other dimensions. I've gone to a person when they were in the womb. Like I have this healing thing that I do, and I start at your womb, but sometimes I go before, and I might go into other lifetimes and do a healing. So, it makes me wonder, like have our abilities been enhanced since then, or does it just make it go on fleek, if you sit in the chair? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just makes me wonder about that. Have you thought about that, Marcus?
I've thought about it, and I mean, the way that I kind of think of it is, I think like although everybody we innately have intuitive abilities, I do think that some people, whether it's their third eye being more open than others, I think some people's abilities are greater than others. But I just think that when they would sit in this chair initially, not only did it improve it, but it also made it like it made them easier to like focus in on one specific thing,
Right.
clearer. You know what I mean? So they could say, okay, I want to see what Marcus Madden's life would look like 30 years from now, and they would be able to get a clear, very detailed, pinpoint view of what exactly that life it would be. So that's what I think the difference is. It just allowed you kind of be able to aim and shoot accurately, rather than just kind of being random.
Get better. Sometimes I see stuff and I see pictures and stuff, and then I have to interpret what I'm seeing. So I'm sure it allows them to see more clearly.
Correct.
You don't have to go through all of this is meaning this, and so
right.
That now. Okay.
Right.
And then I was gonna say something else about that, which reminds me of the aliens and everything, the Anunnaki, or I should say it correctly. just all of the
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, boy, what do we call them? ETs, but shoot.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
exactly. I mean,
When
if
I
we
think
are them and they are us, you know what I mean? So I guess.
right. Let me turn my volume up. I can't hear very well. Oh, it's way up. Wow. Okay. Okay. So I was thinking about when you're in Project Looking Glass, how they say all the timelines would converge at 2012. And
Right.
there were only two timelines.
Mm-hmm.
One, which is what we call timeline one, which is the Great Awakening, and timeline two is the one with the Great Disastering,
Mm-hmm.
or
right.
great catastrophe. Like it's like, great things, and oh my God, over here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it feels like we are. I feel like we're kind of winning the war, because I feel like this is a war of the timelines, timeline one and timeline two.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you were mentioning there's a battle going on with the previous battle, like I wonder if in other dimensions and on other timelines and in other universes, I wonder if they're all having this same stupid battle of, if you want to call it good and evil, dark and light, black and white, whatever, I wonder if everywhere is having this battle. What y'all thought about that?
Well, as far as the big battle goes, I'm not sure, but I think as far as the whole awakening piece, I don't think that that's happening other places. I do tend to think that that's only happening here in this realm, on this planet, because from what I've been learning, like in a lot of those other realms, they've already reached their higher level of consciousness, and kind of like everybody is kind of waiting for Earth to catch up, basically.
Right. I forgot about that.
You know what I mean? But and I think though that's why this whole battle for these two different outcomes is actually happening, as far as the whole awakening and the opposite timeline. Before we go any further, hey, Dole, are you aware of the two, I guess, possible outcomes that they're talking about with this whole Project Looking Glass, as far as how for some reason, no matter how many different scenarios they run through Project Looking Glass, they were only able to see multiple different ones up until the year 2012, and then after 2012, it only plays out to be two different outcomes. That's it. Were you aware of anything about that?
No, this honestly, this is like the first I've actually.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard of the Project Looking Glass before, but I never really looked into the information.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And so for whatever reason, they don't know why though, but after 2012, there's only two possible outcomes, which is timeline A, which is the Great Awakening, which people believe is happening right now, where everybody on the planet, they start to wake up, and they become much more spiritual, much more conscious, across the board. And then it's timeline 2, I guess, or B, or whatever it is, whereas it'll be a great catastrophe on the planet, apocalypse, or some type of major cataclysm that'll wipe out much of the planet.
Like all the movies we've seen, all the doomsday movies are all like when the world is going to end, the day after the last day or whatever. I think like all of the movies are about timeline 2.
B or 2, right.
Like, or B, but how come nobody has focused on the first timeline and all the movies? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here's the funny thing. Again, we keep talking about movies because they keep putting it in our faces to see. Now, here's what you should understand about movies. When we talk about the Great Awakening, we talk about the destruction. The Wachowski brothers, now known as the Wachowski sisters, because both of them two dudes are now transgenders, the two brothers that made The Matrix.
Matrix, yes.
And they also was writers on Terminator. The Matrix is about the awakening. Terminator is about that other Mark, you see where I'm going with this, Mark?
Yes.
It's funny. That's again, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, so the awakening was happening. Man, the Terminator has always scared me because that is such a reality. Because we play with fire, and like I said, there's enough nuclear weaponry on this planet to blow it up 100 times over. Like this, we got that much destruction ready to happen. So and unfortunately, the awakening it is happening. A lot of people are awakening. We starting to see what we starting to get out. This is something I missed last time when Rorree, you mentioned about whether they're trying to put us in a trance, and I said they're trying to keep us in a trance.
Right.
Remember that I said that?
Right.
In Nuwapu, there's it's called the spell of Kingu. Kingu means the sleeping mind, the spell of Leviathan. And that's something they've been trying to keep us in. They want to keep us in that docile, sheepish mentality where we're not thinking for ourselves. We just going with what it is, and we just follow the narrative as they wanted to play out. But yeah, Mark, everybody is starting to wake up and see what's going on. And it's like my dad always tells us, we're one spiritual essence. Like we all come from the same spiritual essence, and we determine on the planet whether it goes good or goes bad. But there's so much negative, like the negative side of that pendulum is heavier right now. And that's why so much bad is happening. And it's so easy to think bad things is happening. It's so easy to think for that bad things are going to happen better than to say, something good is going to happen in my life. We tend to think more negative, and that's just the spiritual essence of us all right now. And we have to shift that mindset. And when everybody truly starts to awaken and realize that that's possible, then we make changes. But then once that happens, plan B, not to say it, plan B, whatever they call it, when you kill it off. But that's what that might be, what's happening. Because, once they realize, hey, man, we got to abort this thing, man. There's too many people waking up. They unplugging from the machine matrix. Mm-hmm. Then, we got to blow this thing up. Terminator. You see what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's real.
It was this story about, it was an old, I feel like it was an Asian man. It was in one of the books when I was studying Kabbalah or Kabbalism, or I don't know. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. But anyway, it was a story in one of the books. And it was talking about this Asian man, and he had a son, his only son. And his son had a nice stallion or something like that, and was riding, and the son was so awesome. He could ride this stallion or whatever. And then one day his son got thrown from the stallion. So people were like, oh no, your poor son. And so first it was all these accolades because he was this awesome guy riding the stallion. Then he broke his legs or something and couldn't ride anymore. And they were like, oh boy, so the father was like, is that really bad? Because sometimes you never know. Sometimes something that looks bad actually could be good. So then they started drafting for a big war. And because his son was now disabled, his son couldn't go to the war. And so then you see how, and then like the war ended up being disastrous, right? And everybody died. So now it was like a great thing that the son didn't go to war. So I say that because some of the stuff is really horrible that's going on right now. But what if what is bad is really good? You know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff we see is horrific, but there's this guy I listen to, and he says, what's bad is good and what's good is bad. And then it leaves you like, what is he talking about? Because he kind of just randomly throws it out there and he doesn't give it any substance. So it sounds kind of confusing. But like, for example, like some artists dying or whatever, like maybe they have to die for a reason, or, maybe some of the demonic forces that are ruling these probably soulless people, maybe some of them have to die off. Maybe they're dying off on purpose so that a new breed can come up that is maybe not such a breed that's controlled by whoever they're controlled by, the bad Anunnaki or whoever, whoever is coming into these people, the vril, or I don't know, whatever. But what if them dying is for the good of humanity? What if the coronavirus or bioweapon, it feels really, really bad, but what if it's on purpose? What if it needs to be for some reason that we don't understand at this time? What if it's killing people that need to die for some reason? I mean, I'm not trying to say killing people and people need to die or anything like that. And I'm just making crazy examples that have no, they don't really mean anything. But what if the people who are dying are on purpose? What if there are, I mean, I've heard different stories. Like I heard this one story that the virus was coded to be able to kill. Now, not the people that I'm hearing that are being killed just because they have the virus, but what if the virus is supposed to kill those with alien DNA that is a bad alien DNA? You know what I mean? What if that is the case? Because I heard that one scenario that the only people that are dying have a DNA that is not desirable for humanity. I mean, what if that's the case? I don't know. But it just makes me wonder about the things that we see that are so bad, even the stock market crashing. What if there's a reason? Because we know it's manipulated. So why, I don't even understand why anybody's upset. You know what I mean? It's manipulated, it's controlled. It could go up, it could go down, and they push the buttons. So, but what if it's down right now for a reason? What if the people that have lost the most, I know some people will be casualties because they're casualties of war, but what if the people that needed to lose the most had to lose the most on purpose for the benefit of humanity? So I don't know. It just makes me wonder. And I know I just went on and on.
It's all good. It's true.
What I want to say real quick, I was going to actually bring this up when we talk about the coronavirus, and Rorree brought it up a little earlier. Bill Gates said something, and it put, for me, the coronavirus is a Chinese concocted whatever the hell. And Bill Gates said something, and it shook me to my core, because he said the coronavirus could hit Africa worse than it hits China. And if everybody's been following up on exactly what's happening in Africa with China, China is slowly but surely trying to take over the entire continent. Like, they just recently talked about bringing in military forces from China, from all the way from China into Africa. It's the coronavirus is their way of just trying to get rid of some humans and take over. They definitely want to take over here because we owe them so much money in America, but they're also trying to get as much as they can out of Africa. They've been buying Africa left and right, and there's a lot of people in Africa who is like, no, we can't let the Chinese have Africa. This is ours. Yeah. The next thing you know, there'll be two Chinas, and
right.
It's just funny that Bill Gates said that the coronavirus could hurt Africa, not anywhere else, could hurt Africa more than it could hurt in China, where it originated from. So I'm like, is this something that they created to get rid of us? I mean, because them Chinese folks don't really bang with black people either. They don't. Like, it was one of the reasons what, Bruce Lee, when he started teaching over here in America, they tried to kill him because he was teaching Negroes. They didn't want him teaching blacks. He didn't like, so they have something against us over there. So I don't know.
Wow.
That coronavirus thing is it got me a little bothered, because I feel like that's a personal attack, really.
Hey, dude, and know that because I put Rorree onto the show that you put me onto, because I watched the full season of The Hunters on Amazon Prime.
I just finished it yesterday. That had me shook as well.
And the whole plague with the food and the virus, and they were targeting inner cities and people of color. Same thing, bro.
Mark, I didn't get to that episode yet.
Mark, just think about how easy it is for them to write that, right?
Yeah.
It has to be as easy for them to actually implement it and that be a part of their plan. Like that could be something they've been doing or they can do. That is crazy. Like I just finished yesterday. I was going to talk about that because I'm like, yo, like I'm looking at it and I'm sitting there watching the show and I'm like, yo, they could be like they could really be diabolical and just say, you know what? All right, well, it's time to release the toxins to their bloodstream. We've been feeding them this poison for years. It ain't going our way. Hit the button, and all of a sudden we all just start dying left and right. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just like like The Walking Dead. Like they said, everybody in The Walking Dead is infected with this disease that they no matter if you get bit or not, you die, you become a zombie. So it's just like, who knows what they've been feeding us over the years, man. And for them to easily just put that into a story, it could be just easily implemented. We got scientists, like they said, that them taking Nazi scientists and using to their benefit is real. Like, you think it was like, how simple could it be for somebody evil to get into the head of our government and be running this whole thing?
Oh yeah. I agree with that 100%. 100%, man. Like, and it goes back to them having to put what they're doing out there in the media to us. You know what I mean? And so that's just another example of that to me. You know what I mean? Even in the show, how in their storyline, how the New York City blackout was a distraction for like, and then like it's because you're thinking like, well, damn, like
could it be?
Was that real too? You know what I mean?
You never know, bro. Never know. Listen, and look, man. Listen, I'm not a bigot, but it's coming from the mouths of the Jews, folks. Like whoever wrote this story really wanted the Jews to feel like, you know what I mean? This is what is, you know what I mean? Because this is like that. You can see that one episode they like when it was talking about why everybody hate the Jews because, and you think about all the reasons that they name. You like, damn, they kill Jesus. They do run the global economy. They got like so somebody's trying to put this information out like, yo, you know, like this is real. Some Jewish person out there putting it like, yo, this is real. Them Nazi Germany wars is, you know what I mean? And they were saying
is that the one by Peele? That's Peele too, right?
Yeah, he produced
Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele produced it. Yeah.
So I'm like, what's up with him? Because he keeps producing in your face information, and he's allowed to do that. It makes me wonder. I know he is disclosing, but that doesn't. So when I say what's bad is good and what's good is bad, I know he's disclosing, but what side is he on?
He's on the woke side because he been said like most of his movies or like, well, that's different. The Hunter's different, but most of his movies have black people in it, because when they asked him before a while will he ever put a white guy in his movie, he said, I've already seen that story. I've seen that enough. I've seen the white guys winning enough. It's time for us to wait for us. And it's funny that, you know, his two movies is one called Get Out and the other one is Us. So it's like Get Out the US, you know what I mean? So it's funny how he put them two together. For me, he's always been even though he's a biracial kid, he's got black mom or something like that. He's a mixed dude. So but he's been a pro-black dude. So but in Hollywood, you can't tell who, whatever. I do like it. I do like his content. It is more geared to us.
But could that be on purpose? Could that be on purpose? I mean, he's woke and we need to get us woke, but I don't know. I'm so jaded now with Hollywood.
But what would be the harm in him trying to awaken the minds? Like that Get Out movie had a lot of people talking. Us again, he's trying to awaken conscience. I mean,
I know, but why are they allowing him to do that?
Because not everybody is smitten right now from Hollywood.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are, and Cat Williams will tell you a lot of people are in this Illuminati, but not everybody. They won't let you get super, super rich. He may be doing this thing, but he ain't like he ain't no George Lucas. Once he get on George Lucas level, then that's something different.
Right.
He doing his thing. It's a lot of producers and things like that doing what they want. They let the Nat Turner movie get made. It didn't sell because people didn't go see it, but they're still allowing those type of movies to be made. But I don't think everybody's been touched by the corrupted dark ones yet, and I don't think he has been.
I hope not.
But best believe if they really care, because at the end of the day, Rorree, they already figure we have won. It don't matter what y'all do, we've won. We are the beginning and the end of all this. If you no matter what, you want to get money, you got to go through white hands to do it. We've won. So it's nothing we really could do. They stopped us years ago when they burned down our communities and they burned down our banks and our blacks, and we tried to get our own economics, and then we became dependent on them. Once we became dependent on them, they realized they won. So it's only so much we can really do to hurt them besides trying to go back to and building up our own communities again. But I think, like you said, most of us are so jaded that we won't get back to that point, and they know it. They know they've won. So him putting out some movies, it's Hollywood. That's all people gonna say. Nah, it's Hollywood.
And I will also say, I mean, I do think that this whole, I guess, power struggle behind the scenes between the Illuminati and the Alliance, and so the Alliance is just as powerful as the Illuminati. So I could see them, if they have his backing, then they can give him a certain amount of protection as well, to put out some of these films and all that type of stuff. So I can kind of see it on both ends, on both sides. But yeah, I mean, it is tough to tell nowadays as far as what people's angles are and all that. Because I know, Roy, because you're always quick to talk about Kanye and how like you wasn't buying his whole gospel twist from the start. You know what I mean? And it's looking like, yeah, like that was a 52 fake out move and stuff like that. You know what I mean? His whole gospel album and all that type of stuff. So
no, but it's sad. It's so sad because the music is so good, and Black folk that have been raised in the church, they will find that music outstanding, and we don't know what is being done to us as we're listening to it. You know, it really disheartens my soul.
Right.
I like the music, man.
It's because the music is fuel to the soul, and if you dig deep into what it's about. I mean, you know, again, I'm not Christian. I don't really follow it. I've never been Christian. I've always been, you know what I mean, not really, you know. So when you think about that Christian music, it's singing about Jesus. It's a continuance, the celebration of that spell, and that's all he doing. That's why they love it. I mean, somebody said it in a meme. I seen it the other day. They said blacks hate everything about slavery except Christianity.
Wow. Yo, that's
know,
deep.
So tell me more about the spell. What are you referring? That's, I think, the second time you said that today.
The spell of Kingu. The spell of, pretty much it's called Kingu, Kingu. The spell of Leviathan. It's the spell to keep us ignorant, to keep us from seeking right knowledge, right wisdom, right overstanding, and knowing exactly where we come from, who we are, to realize that we didn't pray. Like before we were captured, we didn't pray to know Jesus Christ. We didn't. We prayed to our ancestors, those who really been here, those who we hugged, touched, and kissed, that when they pass, they go into that spiritual realm. Those are the ones we should pray to, because they've been here. Their parents been here. They've been touched. Generations of spirits that have left this planet. That those are our ancestors. That's who they believe to. The Indians, all these tribes, they always go back to the ancestors, not Jesus Christ. And when these Christians and they singing that gospel music and they jam and they dancing and Kurt Franklin up there clapping and everybody, they're continuing the celebration of the spell. That's all that's happening. That's all that's happening. And yeah, we all love good lyrics, good tunes and all that. And like I said, man, they love everything. They hate everything about slavery but Christianity. And that's the sad truth. That is real. How can you talk on one hand and say, "Oh man, we want our reparations," at the same time you go on to Sunday service?
Yeah, that's
backhand.
Deep. That's deep. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I never thought about that, duel. That is true. that is true.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus, what's that show that I just finished watching with the pets that are daemons and
His Dark Matters or His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials.
Have y'all seen that?
On HBO.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, Marcus,
you might want to check it out, dude.
What's it called?
Check it out, bro.
What's it called?
What's it called, Rorree? His Dark
Material.
His Dark Material.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, I'm seeing so many shows now that mirror what's happening. I'm like, Lord, it's just too many shows mirroring what's happening. Just like the few seasons that I've seen of The Hunter, isn't that what it's called? The Hunters.
Hunters. Yeah.
I've only seen a few episodes, rather, not seasons, and it really feels like they are just telling us what has already taken place. Because I've heard of this before. Haven't y'all heard of this?
I did. Project the
storyline many times.
Project Paperclip and all that stuff with the Germans and all that. That's with
them coming over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like known. That's not like a secret. That's been like disclosed a couple years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Just that, I mean, both of the shows, just looking at what people are doing. But Marcus, go ahead and explain the plot or whatever for the first story. What was the first one we were talking about? In his Dark Material.
Yeah. So like basically it shows like another world where it's like a all-seeing eye type of secret society that to me represents Illuminati in that world or whatever, and they're trying to open up a portal to another realm, you know what I mean? And so by doing that, like with their technology, they have to power it up by using the souls of children. So they kidnap children, and in this world, everybody that's born, they have like a pet that goes everywhere with them, and the pet is called their demon, like a demon. And the person and this demon, they share the same soul. So whatever the human feels, the pet feels it too, and vice versa. And if the pet dies, then the person dies. Vice versa. It's all connected. And so like what they do is they kidnap these children and they separate their soul from them and from their demon. And once they do that, the demon dies immediately. But then the child is still alive, but it's in like a zombie state because it literally is just a vessel with no soul in it anymore. And so and so then like it goes on and there's a whole other like storyline about it. But that's the whole gist of it essentially. And so like me and Rorree, it was just talking about how many different topics that show covers that we talk about every day, as far as taking children, taking your soul, dimensions, secret societies, and Illuminati. And it's just another show, duel, where like they're talking about shit that's going on real, you know what I mean, in real life. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man, it's just definitely check it out. It's entertaining, and it definitely is I think telling you another way of like what's really going on.
And you know what? One thing, when you separate the souls, the demon doesn't die immediately. They still stay alive, but they're different once they're separated. And so I won't give any spoilers.
Oh, right. Right. That's true.
But the thing is, that reminds me of either the cloning or selling your soul. You know,
right.
I feel like they are using those together. You know what I mean? I just feel like because cloning takes your essence, and puts it into the other clone.
Right.
So what's the difference between selling your soul? Your soul is your life, for your essence. You done took your essence and put it somewhere else. So I think it's the same thing. And then they get inhabited by demons. I'm talking about us, the people here.
Right.
In the show, it feels like that. And then the vril. Do you understand the vril, Marcus? The thing that it goes into your left eye, I think, and then I think
in
that's
the show,
a demon gets into the people, the artists. Have you heard of the vril? That
I've heard of the word, but I've never been sure exactly what it is.
So I think, have you heard of the vril, Abdul?
Nah, this is the first I've heard of it.
Okay, so I feel like it's some type of alien being or a dark spirit. I don't know, but I feel like it's an alien being, and it latches onto your eye. And so like you will see some videos where you'll see prominent people or artists or whatever, and they have like one black eye or whatever. And so they're saying that the vril attaches to the eye and then it goes into the body, so it kind of implants a spirit demon or something into the person's body. And so I believe that when they get to a certain point, then they invoke this demon. The demon wakes up in them. Like you see the picture of Beyonce at one of her performances, I forget which one, but her head goes back and then her neck is all freaking big, like a big ass sumo wrestler neck, all the looking all crazy. And then she comes back down and there's total blackness in her eyes. And then slowly you can see the white come back to her eyes. It just looks, and so they say that that's when the possession takes place. She calls it Sasha Fierce. And what was I getting ready to say? So the vril, I believe, is what has been planted in them, and when it wakes up, I think that's how that happens. So then so to me, it seems like they're an empty soul, like in that show, empty soul, and then something can possess them. And it looks reptilian-like what possesses them, because you always see the eye with the slit when they're disclosing, the
right.
Or are they reptilians already and just shapeshifters? You know what I mean? The whole thing is confusing me with the cloning, with the vril thing, and the possession. It's like I don't understand what's the difference between one from the other. You know what I mean? Or are they all really the same thing, and we call them different things? I don't know.
Vril.
I think it's VRIL.
It's crazy because as I'm looking it up, if you look it up, the Vril VRL, I'm looking at a thing called the Vril Society, and they got pictures of Nazis. They got a picture of Lucifer. They got a picture of the Masons. So that's I don't see anything about the eye, but just looking at the Vril Society that you're talking about, I'm looking at all this, the Vril Nazi, the Vril Society.
Who was talking about it? Name one of those two guys that talk about aliens and stuff. Not Edge of Wonder, but Corey Good and the other dude. What's his name?
David Wilcott. Was it David Wilcott?
It might have been Corey Good though. Let me see.
Probably was Corey Good. But as far as the Nazis go, and we know that the Nazis definitely were working with the reptilians. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't even surprise me that they would be associated with that whole Vril thing. You know what I mean? Because because they've been working with them for quite a while.
I'm still trying to find it. I don't know where I saw it, but
I mean, because a lot of those German scientists and doctors that the U.S. government brought over here after the war, they made no bones about it that they got their information from aliens and their technology and stuff. You know what I mean? So they were talking about it freely as far as like, you know what I mean? Like that's how they got their knowledge and their information.
Yeah,
so,
they were talking about they were talking about how Mark, you've heard. I don't know if you guys are familiar. The Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how there was about that's back in 1943. How in the Philadelphia Naval Base they went into this whole cloaking device, and apparently when they came out of the cloaking device, men were like inside of wall. They were hanging outside of wall, and their body parts was all fused with the vessel of the ship.
Yes. Yep.
Oh my God.
This is you know, they try to say it's not real by calling it the alleged Philadelphia experiment, but you don't come up with nothing like that back in 1943 or something. Like, come on, man. That was real, you know. And again, this was during wartime, you know. So the same energies that Hitler probably had his stuff together, and U.S. was trying to get on his level. And that again, they don't just go to war just because they want to stop something. They go to war because they want something. It's something. It's always like you said. They went and got them doctors, them scientists, because they wanted that information. Right. And that Philadelphia experiment right there, like they said, they was going into another cloaking a whole. They was just warping pretty much is what they was doing. And this is why when I was a young kid and I was reading on the story of the Holocaust, and they were talking about how Hitler was literally like a week away from conquering most of Europe. And he, you know, so who knows what. I don't know, man. It's deep, man. But I'm looking at now. You talking about the Vril Society, yo, man. Like that Nazi thing. Like it. Like again, I'm not trying to be no Nazi, but I'm trying to think. I'm like that mindset. Like how, as I'm watching that show, Mark, and I'm thinking about the Nazis, and I'm like, how he get so many evil thinking people to get like that? It was just a slew, thousands of soldiers that were evil thinking. They just were evil, bro. Like
they were for sure.
That was just like you just take the most because you had the Nazis and then you had the SS Nazis, which was the super evil dudes. I'm like, how you get more how you get more evil than a regular Nazi? So you had the SS Nazis, they were the real evil ones. Or they only come out at night and drink blood when you sleeping? Like what?
Right.
So I don't know, man. I'm saying I don't trust America for nothing, man, because they probably run in this country, them Nazis, man. No, I don't trust them, man.
Now, what do y'all think about? This is a little off topic, but what do y'all think about the stars who look like somebody from the past? Have y'all seen that? Like Jay-Z, like it's a lot of them that look like somebody else from yesterday, you know, another time.
Yeah, I seen on Facebook. I seen when they had like all the like you had like the star, like they had like Alicia Keys, they had Pharrell, or like you know, and they had how they look like the ancestors. I don't know. I mean, I think like I said, we're all spirits, and at some point we may just come back in more than one lifetime, you know, and that may just be it. When you die, you up in like another 100 years. God, like, all right, you got like 2 more 100 years before you back in this game, brother. So
right.
And I just think he just put you back into play, man. You know.
But sometimes, because I know you could come back, but you're not always like you don't always look the same. And I know that sometimes you could come back and look the same, because I remember this lady telling me that I look like somebody she worked for in another lifetime. And she was like, you look just like her. And I was like, okay. So I guess you can come back looking like yourself or in another body. I guess it's whatever you choose or something.
I think it is both. And I might even go as far as say, like, maybe if you didn't accomplish whatever it was that you were meant to accomplish your first time in that life, then that's when you maybe come back whenever you do, looking the same as you did the last time.
Right.
So maybe it's something like that.
When I used to have a dream, and I used to have this continuous dream, and it almost felt like it was a past life. And it was always me, like, and when I was a kid, when I was about like 18, I was always a young kid, and I used to always had this dream where I'm always was on a ship, like no matter what. And this ship, like as if like a pirate ship, you know what I mean? And like always, I wasn't no pirate, just me on the ship. not like a slave bondage type deal, but just me on the ship, like, and the ship always went down. And I'm like, yo, what's the deal with me being on this ship? And the ship keeps sinking. And that's probably one of my fears now, getting on a boat. But I'm like, is that my past life telling me like, yo, this is how you died in the past? You know what I mean? I'm like, because I kept seeing, I remember the dream vividly. Like for the most part, I'm in some weird old clothing, like not like no noble, rich clothes, but I had like, I don't know, them dudes was wearing back in the 1700s and all them early times. But so it could be that, you know, we, like you said, Mark, we when we don't finish a mission in the first life, we come back to finish in the second one. And I tell you right now, if that's the case, I'm gonna be back for like a third time, bro. I'll be back for a third time because I ain't doing nothing I want to do right now, brother. That's the case, man.
So Marcus, you and I were talking about coming back, and we were talking about previous lifetimes and like, why does this lifetime look like this if other lifetimes looked super
different,
better?
Yeah,
and so we were like, so because this lifetime feels like a humbling experience for me. I mean, I've had great success and I've had great losses, and then now I feel like I'm just like I'm at a level, and this guy that I'm in a group, he uses the word neutral. Like now I'm kind of like neutral. Like I've gotten to this place over the past couple of years that have made me neutral, not anxious about tomorrow, not anxious about yesterday, not feeling like, oh my God, I wish I had more of this or that. You know, I'm kind of like on an even keel now. And I feel like this is a great place to be. But if we've been here before and been great people, like, what is this lifetime all about? Because this, to me, has been a humbling journey to learning who I am and then growing in that being as I've discovered who I am. You know what I mean? Growing into that. So, Marcus, you were saying that there was a reason why certain beings reincarnated in this lifetime. You want to share that?
Yeah, sure. And then I got something else to add to that also. But like just like with this whole awakening happening on the planet now, I definitely feel that like everybody that's on the planet right now, like when our souls chose to be born into this life, like we wanted to be on the planet in this time to help with this great awakening and to be a part of it. So I think that's why our spirits chose to be born into these bodies and to be adults during this period of time, just to help with the whole awakening process. And so that's definitely as far as why now I think that we're on the planet. And then just to go back to what you were saying, Roy, as far as like how in some lives we might have been royalty or powerful, whatever, but in this version we just regular folks just trying to hang in there. I just think that like it's always our spirit and our consciousness is always learning and is always trying to learn different experiences. And so in the last 3 or 4 previous lives, if we incarnated into lives that were wealthy and powerful beings and all that, then okay, now our spirit wants to learn a different experience. They want to learn the struggle. They want to learn how it is just being a regular person. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely think that that's why just different life experiences every time that we incarnate are different. And I mean, whether it's unfortunate or fortunate, just that in this life we chose to incarnate into, you know what I mean, beings that's just regular folk, if for lack of a better word. So I do think that it varies, you know what I mean? But I mean, who knows? In my next life, I might come back as an animal or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So you never know as far as whatever agreement your spirit makes with itself as far as for like what type of experience it wants to have in the next lifetime. So that's it.
Thank you. Y'all have anything y'all want to add?
Nah, I'm just taking that in. Nah.
All right, Cook, what's going on?
Hello?
What's going on?
Ain't nothing. I'm talking to my mother. I got a couple things going on right quick. I'm good, though. Yeah, I'm kind of tuned out today.
Oh, okay.
It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. My bad, y'all. I've been kind of running back and forth between, you know what I mean, here and the phone. So, yeah, I'm straight, though. I'm straight.
All right.
Hey, Roy, real quick, did you when Abdul was talking about his dream about him on the boat, was anything coming to you about that experience, if that was in fact a past life, or was that just a recurring dream that he was having?
I don't know. I was trying to tap in while he was talking, and I was getting some stuff, but then I was listening at the same time, and then I lost whatever came. Sorry. I don't even remember what I thought. Let's keep moving, and then I'll try to think about it. Well, do you want to talk about your dream again, and then I'll see what I hear?
Well, I just put it like this: like my biggest fear right now is large bodies of water. I don't like going on oceans. I don't like driving over bridges. Like my girl been trying to get me to go on a cruise. I refuse to go on a cruise. I don't like large bodies of water at all. So, and like I said, when I was young, I used to have this dream. I had it at least 3, maybe 4 times. And I'm like, yo, why? And I used to tell my dad all the time. And he used to say, maybe it was a past life. He said, maybe it was a past life. Like, and I'm like, dude, I keep dreaming about being on this boat that goes down. Like, and to this day, you can't, a cruise, I don't care. Everybody keeps telling me, oh man, the cruise, you can't even feel it. Yeah, all right. I'm cool without it.
Was it a big ship?
I mean, I can never really tell the size of the ship. I can always just tell that I'm on a boat. I can always see just water surrounding and then the boat going down.
Was anybody else on the boat?
There were other people. There was always other people, just different people. I would always see other people, but it always was like as if I was like in a different time era, not our current era, not like me wearing no Jordans, no Nikes. Like I had on some different type of garment, and and I don't really dream. Like I usually take stock in my dreams because like a lot of my ideas when I write come from dreams, but I don't really ever dream about being in a different time zone that often. But that was the one time I'm like, what, like and then there's always this boat, and the only other dream that I'll either have recurring besides that is me being on this metal slab table with the lasers going in my skin. That's the only 2 dreams. I used to hate them dreams, the lasers. And but usually the lasers dreams will always come when I'm asleep and my mom would turn the light on when I'm trying to sleep. So the light used to be burning my eyes. So it felt like as if I had lasers pointing on me. So that one I think I can count for that being just lights being trying to wake me up. But that ship one, yeah, that's probably why I don't like boats now.
You still had them, Jones?
Nah. What do you mean? Which ones? Like I still
like
had
the either one, like the lasers or the one about you being on the ship. Like you still had those? Or
no, I don't still have. I'm pretty sure now that I probably re-sparked it. My brain will probably go through it, but it probably it probably seems forced now if I dream about it now because we're talking about it. But no, I don't have those dreams no more like that.
The only thing I heard was, yes, it was a past lifetime, and no, you're not going to die like that in this lifetime.
I don't know, because I'm not getting on a boat.
Dude. He said, I already know that.
Nah. Why, like Mark said, why would he put me back on this planet to do it again, to die the same way?
To do the same dumb shit.
I'm not getting back on the boat.
Wow. Right? Oh boy. When you were talking, when you were telling the story the first time, I was like, shoot, I must have been on that boat with him, because you were telling everything that you didn't want to do. You don't want to drive over bridges. I was like, that's me.
Yeah, I don't mess with bridges. Like and I used to truck drive. I was a truck driver. I don't truck drive no more. But I used to have anxiety attacks driving over the Benjamin Franklin Bridge like that in this truck because I don't like driving. Like, listen, if I can see the water, I'm cool. Like I said, maybe that dream, and as weird as it seems, I am scared of a mega tsunami because I feel like those can happen. If one was to happen, it'll wipe the whole eastern side of America out. So I don't like large bodies of water, man. I'm telling you.
Nope.
Cool.
Now, speaking of mega tsunami on the East Coast, what do you think about that? And have you heard about that? The pole shift predictions that coincide with that Navy map. Have y'all looked at that?
I could tell you a little bit. There is an active volcano right now. I think it's Canary Island, I believe is the name of the it's called Canary Island. It's an active volcano. There is a giant slab of rock that supposedly, if the volcano ever goes active, and if that giant slab of rock was to fall off of Canary Island and goes into the water, it would go straight to the bottom. It's a giant slab of rock, almost like probably like the size of like, I don't know how, like maybe a state or something like that. But if it was to go in the water, it would go down. Then it would bring.
Hold on 1 second. I think Marcus is trying to get unmuted, and I can't. You good, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, sorry about that, Abdul.
Oh, it's all good. So yeah, it is. I think it's over there near the Canary Island. Is close to like the port of Spain, right there, around there by Africa and Spain like that. So apparently, if the volcano would erupt, that slab of rock would go into the ocean. Then after a few moments, the water would come back up about 2,000. I think it's at 2,000 feet high. It would destroy everything around the port of Spain, parts of Madagascar, and all that stuff around there, while traveling east towards us. Now this time it's a 2,000 foot wave. But by the time it travels east coast, it would be about 200 feet.
Oh,
but that still be, and then that point it still would start from up north, from Maine, all the way down to Florida. It would get wiped out.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you ever look up Canary Island volcano and look at that slab? That's what I read. So yeah, I am very fearful of.
Yeah, I'm looking at the joint right now.
Is it Canary Island? Island? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they said that slab of rock ever falls into the water, it could be catastrophic for the East Coast of the United States and the surrounding ports of Spain and all that, because they would get it first, because that wave and that water would just wipe all that out, and then it'll travel westward.
Yeah, it says enormous tsunami could drown UK and US coasts. Yep.
Yeah, so.
Is it at risk of falling or something?
What's that, the slab of rock?
Yeah.
It depends on I guess it depends on how much that if the volcano ever goes off, and they said most of these volcanoes on this planet is due to blow, but they're all connected from the same core. But I guess it depends on if it's strong enough to knock that slab off. So I don't know why ain't nobody trying to chisel that thing down now so we can avoid a catastrophe. You know what I mean? To start chiseling it down now so we can avoid the problems later, you know. So
when I was into the whole pole shifting and really pole shift plan and all that stuff, what I was learning was that, like you said, all the volcanoes are interconnected. I'm gonna put you over there. All the volcanoes are interconnected, and then they were saying that the plates, like they were saying different plates that would shift, and when the plate off of the Atlantic shifts, that's the shift that they say will cause the East Coast to kind of flood out on the coastline. And they were saying that down there will be a new Madrid. Have y'all heard of this? The new Madrid that will come up through the United States on the side of Texas and come kind of up, and it'll kind of split the East Coast from the middle of the country, and it'll be like a new river, like the Mississippi River will like open up really, really wide, and they'll call this the New Madrid, and it's coming from the Gulf. Like, have y'all seen these maps? Have y'all seen them? Oh, well, those are I guess those are people that believe that timeline B is going to happen.
Right. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
And so they have this Navy map, and then other people have made maps, and then there is this alien called the Zetas. I think the Zetas. You heard of the Zetas, Abdul?
Zetas.
Or Zeta, and so we would just call them the Zetas.
Zeta. Not too familiar. I mean, again, like I would have to read that list of, like I said, the only ones I can remember are the Dracos, the Anunnaki, and the Greys were 3 of the names, but it was like 9 other names on that list. So they may have been on there. I'm not actually sure.
Blue avians, is that a name of an alien species?
Yes. Yeah. Blue avians. They're big birds. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Zetas, they talk to this lady who like is a contactee, I guess. And so she has this website called Zeta Talk. And so the Zetas are telling her that there's going to be, this catastrophe. And then there's this other guy named Christopher Thomas who follows Zeta Talk. But he also studies geography. I forget what he's called. But anyway, so he does all these videos on safe places if that happens, that timeline B happens and we have catastrophic events. And I mean, we never know. That might happen because the pole is shifting and plates are moving and you see a lot of volcanic eruptions and all this stuff. So anyway, if you want to see more about that, you could Google both of their videos. It's the Zeta Talk, Zeta Talk. And then Christopher Thomas, you could put in the YouTube search, you could put in Christopher Thomas safe places. And you can see all his videos, and he talks about the geography of the earth and what would happen if this plate shifted, if that plate shifted, or whatever. But I think that's very interesting. I forgot where I was going with that, but you have anything to add to that, Marcus?
Well, no, just that because the whole pole shift thing was all related to the whole Nibiru orbiting around Earth and how the gravitational pull would affect the poles on the planet and causing all types of things to shift on the planet, which would cause a major tsunami on I think both coasts of the country. And they were saying how like basically like anybody that lived on the East Coast, so like I think as far in as like West Virginia, that like that whole part of the country that far inland would be underwater basically. And so like a lot of people were saying how you need to move to like the upper Midwest part of the country, like Colorado, Utah, stuff like that, and like get up high above like sea level in order to avoid the water and stuff like that.
Well, here's the problem with that, Mark, because you just said it. If the pole shift does happen and the axis goes back to as it was, since we're off our axis by like 13 degrees, I believe, if it goes back with the pole shift and you move to Colorado, which makes sense because you want to be on higher ground. Mm-hmm. But if that were to happen and those other volcanoes go off, because you got 7 what they call mega calderas. Mm-hmm. These are like 2,000-mile long volcanoes. And we have one right over there in Yellowstone Park. Mm-hmm. So if you go there, when that caldera goes off, it's going to cover 3/4 of the United States in ash,
right?
Which could potentially black out the sun, causing it to not gonna say no ice age, but it'd be a lot cooler. You won't have no hot days, and because the ash would be so thick, it's blocking out the sun, and it's killing off the crops, and then you know, so we have a problem. So it just seems to me like we SOL once that pole shift happens. Either way, you're gonna drown or you're gonna be over there with the ash, getting that all in your lungs, and you're just dead. Because over there, that's farmland. All that Midwest is farmland. So if the crops and all that stuff is dead, we screwed over here. Which is why they don't tell you. I don't know if you familiar with this, Mark, but there's about like in Arizona, there's like 7 underground bunkers for the elite, and then in the Arctics, they had about like 5 underwater bunkers made just for vegetation seeds and things like that for when this happened, because they're preparing for it to happen, because it's only a matter of time before because when the thing is, once one caldera goes off, all of them go off. And it's real. It is not just like you're gonna see, because they're so powerful. From what I was reading on it, the calderas, when they're so powerful, when they go off, they're gonna go off. They're gonna cause other storms. It's gonna be not just be a volcano going off. It's gonna be a volcano. It's gonna be hurricanes and tornadoes all in that area. Everything is like magma. It's like that movie. What was the movie called 2012? Mark.
2012. Then there's like I don't know. It's a bunch of them. 2012. Geostorm was another one. Yeah. So it's a bunch of them. Yeah.
So something like that. Not as much as the Hollywood media, but that is real. When they go off, it's so much biometric pressure with those. It will cause storms and things like that in those areas. So but there's 7 connected all across the world. I know there's one in Japan. I know there's one in Africa, down there in Australia, and area that they're connected. You know.
Right. And that's what they want to happen. That's the timeline B, Rory, that they want to happen. You know what I mean? Like that's the great apocalypse type of thing that the powers that be want, because that'll wipe out a large amount of the population on the planet, and then it'll essentially give them a reset, and then they'll be able to maintain their status and in the brainwashing with the new world, basically.
And they've already prepared for it. They already have billions. They have spent billions of dollars on the caskets. They have these black plastic caskets that they have for the people that die in this event. They have the places already set up, like the Walmarts, the old Walmarts and stuff. They've turned them into these places where they will house people. They're already housing much supplies all over the place. You know, they have different places, but if you live in the Midwest, like what you guys were talking about, the other issue is that the rocks start to move in too. So you have to strategically place where you're going to live, and prepare for the fact that yes, the ash is going to be covering up the sun. It's going to be many days, could be months with no light. You're going to have to do indoor vegetation or whatever. You may want to have a bunker or something. It's so much if we go down that way. But one thing that I heard was that the aliens would rescue us before we were all destroyed. Have y'all heard that we'd get snatched up?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. I did hear that. Unfortunately, I did hear that like they wouldn't snatch up everybody, but a good amount of people would be saved, basically, and given the option to be taken off world and until the waters and stuff go back, and then be brought back to Earth, or be taken off world and placed on another planet. But I did hear that, but it wouldn't be necessarily for everybody though.
Yeah. So. Alrighty.
So how we doing on time, Roy?
Oh, it's 12:37. All right. Was there anything else anybody wanted to talk about before we wrapped up today?
We talked about the coronavirus.
Oh, corona.
We talked about that already. We talked about. I think.
Yeah, my bad, y'all, for being kind of disengaged today, man. I'm just kind of all over the place right now.
You good, Cook, man?
It's all good. Yeah, I think we're good, Roy. I know. Next week, I'll talk a little bit about CERN. some of the stuff that they work on and stuff like that. And I'm sure over the week we can all kind of just, you know what I mean, think of some other topics. Because I'm sure something else will happen in between then and now. I will just say something real quick. It dawned on me after Kobe died a couple weeks back. I was watching a video, some guy talking about it and everything, and he said that Kobe's death was just phase one, and he said don't be surprised if a lower level entertainer or rapper dies next, and then the virus takes over all the mainstream talk. And lo and behold, the rapper Pop Smoke gets killed shortly after. And even though the coronavirus was already being talked about around Kobe's passing, it's a whole lot more bigger now than it was back then. And so it's just crazy how kind of the Illuminati's playbook, basically, like people know the playbook now, you know what I mean? Because they were already calling like, yo, so like once Kobe died, like it's going to be a lower level entertainer or rapper that gets killed, and then a virus is going to take all the attention off everything. And that's just how shit played out, like word for word. So, I mean, so that's all. I just wanted to throw that out there. We can pick up on that next week or something like that. But I just find that kind of interesting.
Yes.
And if y'all get a chance, check out. I show my kids like every morning. We watch this thing called Seeing Intent. It gives like a 10-minute, debrief of hot topics in the U.S. Y'all heard about like those huge locust swarms in China and Africa? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like that between the coronavirus, Kobe's death, these huge locust swarms, like something up, something going on.
For sure.
It seems like the plagues, right? This coronavirus.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it
now
does.
it's here. Now, have y'all tried to order any masks?
No, I haven't.
Nah. They say they ain't really, unless you get like these $100, $200. Nah.
Yeah.
Just hold my breath.
Some little paper mache mask ain't helping.
Right.
No, there's a different and it's the one that covers your nose and your mouth that more fits your nose. I think the grade is N97 or 95 or something like that.
I need help with
the only ones I heard that work are like the ones with the little, the little nozzles that come out the side, like that really like filter out. But like those little paper mache joints, I heard they ain't really stopping nothing.
Yeah, but see, but even in like those masks and stuff, I look at all that as just fear porn. It's just another thing that they do just to get people scared. You know what I mean? Like, and so like I don't even really like buy into all that. Because like it's just crazy to me how he said that several pharmaceutical companies already have a vaccine for this coronavirus, as if like they already it was already set and ready to go. I mean, and so just like to me, all this stuff is just adding into the fear porn of it, just to get people more and more scared of this thing, so they can go out and get vaccinated and get this shot, and who knows what they really being injected with in these vaccinations. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's all bullshit to me, man.
I mean, I just say build your body up, make sure you have lots of vitamin C. You can use some olive leaf extract, some colloidal silver. Just cleanse your body, build it up.
Yeah, because
your Dr. CB joint, man.
Yeah, because
Dr. CB joint.
What they said about the coronavirus is they like as big as it is, because it's spreading so much is what it was crazy. But they said it's mild. It's just a mild, like not even really flu. Like you may have like flu-like symptoms, but it's not like like the Black Plague was taking you out because But from what I was reading, it's not that heavy of a sickness. People catch it. Some people die from it. Like you said, Rorree, you get your immunities and all that up. But they don't seem like
They said more people have been dying this season from the regular flu this season than from coronavirus. But nobody's talking about that because it's just the regular flu. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
What is a regular flu with all these different strands of it out here?
I think it's called the Spanish flu or something like that. The original.
We get.
Right, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have to ask Peel to do one about the big pharma. So he disclose that.
Screw Pill, I'll write it. Screw Pill, I'll write. I need me a couple ducats. We don't need no Jordan Pill.
I'm getting my clients saying, "Well, I got my flu shot and I got my pneumonia shot." I'm like,
they be the first one to die because the flu shot.
Right. Exactly.
Yourself now. That's like the mark of the beast.
That's like when that war they go take when you go to the army they give you that anthrax shot because I'm like, what you giving me? It's anthrax in the actual shots. Like
wow,
right? Why are you giving me the poison? Why do I want the poison? I don't want the poison to build up immunities. No, I'm cool.
Exactly. It's crazy, man.
One of my clients just got some new shot, and she got it under her arm, and the whole arm, like it's like this big, like a freaking large orange, and it's like red. It looked hot. She said it feels hot. It's swollen. What the hell kind of shot is that? And she got to get 2 of them. I forget what the hell it is.
It's not for shingles, is it?
Huh?
Is it for shingles?
Shingles, that's it. What the hell? Freak that. Just take some lysine.
I guess Dual got that shot too, huh, Dual? You must have got that shot too, because you knew right what she was talking about.
It's the thing that old people get it. You know, they say it's old people chicken pox. You know, so
yeah.
So they gave her a big chicken bone. She had a big old chicken pox bone. I mean,
I'm cool.
Poor people. Who got that? Y'all got that before?
I'm cool.
No, I'm good.
I'm
good.
I'm gonna stay away from that.
Get a lollipop. Right.
They get me with nothing, no corona virus vaccine. Hell no. Vitamin C. All right, y'all. But anyway, it was fun today. Thank you all for participating.
Definitely.
All right, y'all.
Thank you. All right, y'all.
All right.
Talk to y'all next week.
Talk to you.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
All right, later.
Later.